Let's start at center here, dudes. The first place Panthers on the road against the Canucks. So Barkov, $7,500 coming off a 2-goal contest last night. Is he worth paying up for, or do you prefer someone else, AJ?
I do prefer someone else, and I'm going to go slightly further down the list here and go with Evgeny Malkin for the Penguins, coming in at 6,600. Picked up a goal last night in that 6-4 win over the Senators. He's got 5 points in 5 games back since returning from a long-term knee injury. And since the start of January, the Jackets have allowed 4.25 goals per game in 8 contests. Should be rife for Penguin goals tonight and just keep racking up against these easier teams. All
right, Paul, what's your strategy at center, dude?
See how he's trying not to smile over there?
Yeah, I do.
I've got to go with Alexander Barkov. He's got to be a strong consideration. I watched the game last night in Edmonton, and it looked like a party for these guys in the second half of the game. The Panthers are really rolling. Throw in the fact that the Canucks are starting Spencer Martin in goal, his first NHL start in 5 seasons, I believe, and that could get ugly too. I like the matchup for Braden Point and the Bolts as well. In Columbus, he's producing at better than a point per game over his last 10 starts, and the Jackets have lost 4 in a row, being outscored by a 16-4 margin. He'll cost $7,000 tonight. Finally, Dylan Larkin is quietly having his best season as a pro, and it's punctuated by 13 points in his last 10 games. Tonight he gets a Dallas club and the second of back-to-back, which has given up 19 goals in their last 5 games. I'll take that for $6,700 as well.
Paul, we've also got a battle here among 2 teams atop the Metro Division. So the Rangers visiting the Hurricanes. You got wingers galore here. Kreider, Panarin, Svechnikov, Teravainen. Which one is worth rostering?
For me, I got to go with Chris Kreider. Over the season, he's had the highest average DraftKings score with 13.1 points per game, and is also leading goal scorer among all the wingers in this one. So that's my choice. That said, he's only the 4th most expensive winger on the DK board as well. So I'm very happy to commit $5,600 to him tonight. He comes into the contest with 7 goals and 3 helpers in his last 10 games. So he's feeling pretty good about his game too.
AJ.
Well, Paul, like the rest of the Toronto media, is just dumping on Freddie Anderson all season long.
I'm not, buddy.
They chased him out of town. Everybody up there in Detroit. Look, the guy's 9-1-0 in his last 10 games, a 1.90 goals against average. So I'm not touching any of those Rangers tonight. And I really don't. I'm not high on the Hurricanes in a matchup likely with Igor Shesterkin either, because both clubs are getting really good net minding. So in that $6K price range where you find Kreider and Panarin, I actually like Kevin Fiala from Minnesota coming in at 5,800, going up against a Blackhawks team that's a much easier matchup than either of those other clubs. And you're getting a guy who's riding a 6-game point streak and is on the Wild's #1 power play. It's just too risky to go with those Rangers. Normally, I love stacking the Rangers. I do it all the time. But against Freddie Anderson right now, I think you got to be crazy to think about it.
Well, AJ, with the Blue Man Group here, who thinks Chris Letang is the best option going up against a struggling Blue Jackets team? $7,300. That's his price tag. 14 points in his last 9 games.
Well, look, I recommended Letang yesterday. How do I change my tune today after he picked up another power play helper last night? They're likely going to face Korpisalo between the pipes as Mirza Lickens went last night. So both teams coming into a back-to-back. And like I mentioned, the Penguins are facing a club that is just leaking goals throughout the month of January. I see no reason for that to stop here either. And look for that power play to double down with the Penguins.
You on the Letang train tonight, Paul?
Definitely. He's one of my favorite players in the league. AJ's never heard me say that before, but I love this guy's game. And right now he's on the top of it, and he faces a Columbus team that is also on the second of back-to-backs. Both clubs are on the second of back-to-backs. The guy's enjoying such a heater, though, that you have to go with him. He's got to be amped. He might be at the rink already for all we know. He's so excited the way he's playing, I'm sure. That looks even more attractive, though, when you consider several other top defensemen are in tougher matchups. If you want to save a bit but still get one of the top D-men in the league, I think you should go with the best one, in my opinion. That's still Victor Hedman. As Tampa gets the favorable matchup again in Anaheim, this guy's leading the entire league of all defensemen, young and old, with points this year, and at better than a point per game pace. That's career best, and yet he's the 3rd most expensive on the list at $6,800. Given this favorable matchup, I love it.
All right, I got a couple more for you guys. Let's go to the DK Sportsbook, though. Which game is going over the goal total tonight, Paul?
I'd be surprised if AJ's not on the over with Pittsburgh and Columbus. I am too. Could be a very high-scoring game. We know that the Pens are on a high-scoring tear over their last 9 games. They are also going to start their backup goalie, Casey DeSmith, and that will contribute because he has a lousy 347 goals against average in his 8 starts so far this year. So that to me means I go to the alternate total goal line, taking 7.5 and taking the 235 payoff. Another game where the over is in play will be the Stars' visit to Detroit. I note that the Dallas club has been giving up almost 5 per game in their last 4 starts, and Detroit's got a pretty nice attack as well. They love to play run and gun. They're going to face Jake Ottinger on the second of back-to-backs on the road against a very rested Detroit club. So I say take the over on the alternate line here for 6.5 and get the 150 payoff as well.
Yeah, AJ, your Penguins and Blue Jackets tied for highest goal total of the night, 6.5, man.
Yeah, it's a big mark to get to, but Paul outlined all the reasons to go after it. So I definitely am on that one. Another game I do like, Lightning's Ducks, was surprisingly, to me at least, coming in at 5.5. You look at the Bolts' last 5 games, they've been over that total in 4 of them. They've scored 21 goals on their own. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tampa Bay approach 5 or 6 goals in this one. So you get Anaheim to maybe pick up 1 or 2. And I think you cruise to the over at 5.5 in this contest.
Let's go slate-approved pick. Your favorite bet on the board and why. AJ.
I went to the game parlays on the DK Sportsbook to get a little more value here. And I'll start by going straight to that Lightning game. You get them to win on the money line, plus the over 5.5 goals combined for plus 140. Pretty decent value there. And I would also consider, like Paul said, the Penguins to win and hit that over plus 170. Hurricanes in the under at plus 210 just because Freddie Anderson's been so good. Those are a couple options for you. But my favorite, as I said, is that Lightning to win and over 5.5 goals.
Paul, bring us home with your favorite bet on the board on the DK Sportsbook.
I don't talk much money line with you, Emerson, but I will today. I think that the Florida team on the money line at minus 1.5 in Vancouver is going to be an easy win for the visitors. They are at the top of the whole league, and they showed why last night. I say wash, rinse, repeat in Vancouver for the 130 payoff. I also like the Lightning in Anaheim tonight as the home side is struggling in a 4-game losing streak and coming off back-to-back shutouts. A slump-busting win against a 2-time defending Stanley Cup champs is not very likely. They're firing on all cylinders themselves and win their own 4-game win streak, and it's a very likely win, and I'll take it Tampa at minus 1.5 for the 105 payoff.